Twilight Syndrome. A long dead series that tried to stay alive 2 times after its demise. And the series would have remained an obscure piece of J-horror if not for Moonlight Syndrome, the third game in the series, but there's no need to talk about that one right now. Today's subject is the second revival of the series, and the only one that got popular by being referenced in Danganronpa 2. But what went wrong? Let's start with a question. Why would anyone play a walking sim? Of course, it's for the story. And let me say this, it's not quite good. In a way, it starts good. There are some mystery, that prologue connects with the chapter 1. It feels so great. But then, the story just exists. You can see it as a collection of stories that just sort of happen, with no good opening for each chapter. They just exist. They don't connect at all. And after clearing the first chapter, you would be surprised that you've cleared a third of the game. Which is good in a way, being short, that is. But the worst offender is that it starts with the usual boring Kokuri-san ritual. And why that matters? You see, it has already happened in the previous title, Saikai. And there was that other scene, eerily reminiscent of Saikai, which doesn't add any point to originality. I think that the whole game isn't something special. And when I said walking sim, I really mean it. You just walk to the left or to the right, and you see, the problem is that you just walk. You can run when the game wants you to run, but otherwise you sluggishly crawl around the local environment, which is quite a boring set of locations. There's nothing really eye-catching, maybe aside from the third chapter, or was it fourth, is the house of the protagonist, but that's it. And it may not seem that bad, but we also have a choice window from time to time, where we should choose what to do next out from a few variants available, and they affect the ending of a chapter. And if you chose the wrong answer, guess what? What will you get in the end? Certainly it will be a bad end. And the best part, you'll just walk this boring path to the choice once again. Surely you can save, but you're not really safe from a few situations that can happen. Like in the first case, there is a choice really early in the game that affects the ending of a chapter, and it's not something that you can predict, and it's a little bit frustrating. And eventually, even if you use a guide, you'll still be holding the left or the right button for majority of your playtime, while looking at your phone or maybe watching TV, something else, because it's really that boring. But is there something else to the gameplay? Yeah, a few touchscreen based minigames, a spookometer that should serve as let's say in the previous titles it was something similar to a health bar, but here it is nothing but an indicator that there is some collectible nearby. And these collectibles may be quite nice, but the problem is that you will see what you've gathered only after clearing the chapter in the main menu screen, which is a shame. But there's also something good about this game. It's the sound design. They've used some 3D sound system, and they really did a good job here. Playing with headphones actually adds a good amount of atmosphere to this very boring walking sim. You can hear the ghost whispering here and there, and it's a really good addition. I really liked the game more after playing it in headphones, but given that it is a DS title, it's not the thing that will be used on average, meaning headphones. And the other good thing, in my opinion, is that the script was written in a way that sounds as high school at the time of release as possible, and it also adds some bonus points to the game because readability counts, especially if you are not fluent in Japanese. But putting my highly personal thoughts aside, I really adore Twilight Syndrome series and want to talk about this disaster. What really went wrong? If we look at the history pages, we can see that Spike made another big bet on the DS release of Twilight Syndrome, filming two, fully non-related to the Twilight Syndrome series movies, but they bear the name of Twilight Syndrome. I won't really talk about how terrible they are, though I would point out the funny thing about them. People knew about these two movies while not knowing about the game series, which is funny, and you can see a lot of fan dubs or maybe fan subs of these two movies way early. At the time, the dates like 2009 or 2010, but nobody really cared about the Twilight Syndrome series. And also, I think that the game market was full of urban legends or similar premise horror stories at the time. Even if we count the DS titles, the same bad execution of urban legends story happened in Apathy Narukami Academy Urban Legends Detective Club that was released a year earlier. The better execution happened in a year and a half later port of Hayarigami Duology. A month earlier to the release of Twilight Syndrome, we've got an national game, which was one of the scariest games for Nintendo DS, and it really pales in comparison. Twilight Syndrome pales in comparison to the national game in terms of scary factor, which is a shame. Let's talk about mobile phones. They were blessed with Cops Party remake on that year, and there were some other scary phone games. And when you think about it, in such an environment, the Twilight Syndrome could have had a chance if they didn't try to play it safe here. The game felt too tame to be memorable, which is a shame. I think that partially the problem lies in that the urban legends aren't the scariest one here. Like, I'm sure they could have tried better, find some maybe more gruesome urban legends, but what happened. And if we talk about this urban legend premise, things were far more enjoyable in the Hayarigami series, for example. They had more crazy stuff here, more crazy urban legends, and I think that compared to their original games, original duology, Moonlight Syndrome especially, or I'm not sure about Twilight Syndrome Saikai because I haven't played this game so much, but from what I've seen, even Saikai had more charm to it than Twilight Syndrome Forbidden Urban Legends. Yeah, that's all.